Alrighty, we are live from Columbus, OH, and that is the home of the Ohio State Buckeyes, winners of the 2024 College Football National Championship game. Alrighty, we are live from, and we have, that means that double audio you have there meant that the sound is working. Alrighty, so once again, I am Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And if you, yes, you, have got money problems or you just want to make sure you're on the right track, you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation with me at calendly.com/Coach Steve Money. And that link is in the ticker below, also in the video descriptions. You're watching this on youtube.com/Coach Steve Money. And for my financial content, just scroll past the Oak Island playlist, and you'll see the Ramsey Show Aftershow playlist and the Answering Your Financial Questions playlist as well. And there's about, I don't know, 600-700 hours of these combined. So plenty of me. You can get your fill of me for sure. The music playlist has 11 Ramsey adjacent songs in there. Feel free to listen to those if you're so inclined. And those include such hits as You Belong Debt Free, You Belong Debt Free, and How to Do the Baby's Dibs Right. All right. Market report, and almost scrolled all the way to the top. Not quite. Everything up to date, led by the Russell Small Cap Index. And of course, that would be one of the four categories of investing for retirement that Mr. Ramsey recommends. He normally calls them different names, which they were known as earlier, but or a long time ago rather, when he 30 years ago, I guess, when he was already starting to invest. And that would be, it's like growth and income, aggressive growth, and international. And the one I know is aggressive growth is small cap. But also you would have mid cap, large cap, and international, or the rest of those categories. So, and they're more commonly referred to as those cap names. Let's see, what else do we have here today? Let's see what the rest of the world is doing. Mostly up in Europe, mostly down in Asia. The currency report. We have it just switched. The euro is now above the US dollar. Just a second ago, it was below. US dollar up against the yen, down to the British pound low, and up against the Canadian dollar sorry, and up against the Australian dollar, mate. Australia wanted to be higher, but we said no. Like they say for some reason there. What else do we got? Look at futures, all up for tomorrow too. So great. Let's see. We got Netflix reported today. We'll see what that did in just a second. Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, GE Vernova tomorrow, and then Thursday, Texas Instruments reporting. Also on Thursday at 7 p.m. Central Time, I think. Check me on that. Make sure you get there on the right time. But that would be the New Year's Ramsey live event on the YouTubes. You can sign up for it on RamseySolutions.com. But otherwise, it's already posted. You can just go to that posting on YouTube already, because it's been posted for quite a while now. Apple down 3.19%. Tesla down 0.57%, and the rest of the Microsoft down 0.12%. But Google, Amazon, Meta are up, including Amazon at 2.11% up. Let's see what stories we have here. Dow rallies 400 points as investors I feel like, for me, Trump's tone on tariffs is softer than feared. All right, so what are we, Trump's boyfriend, where we have to watch our tone? Or he's somebody's boyfriend, he has to watch his tone. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, right? Also today from CBS News, Trump to announce up to $500 billion in private sector AI infrastructure investment. And so, that explains why all the tech guys were at the inauguration. But Tesla stock falls as Trump ends electric vehicle mandate, looks to eliminate subsidies. Yeah. Too much for the trying to save the planet thing. Too much. Gas vehicles are fine. So that's good. What else we have? Oh, for Netflix. Yeah, let's did it update already? It updated already. So up 1.35% today. So I guess people were anticipating higher numbers, and we'll see exactly what happened. Oh, it's just not showing me the after hours. Let's refresh and see. There we go. And so up 14.36% in after hours trading. So they must have had some good numbers. Let's see what the thing says. The articles say Netflix shares soar as company reports surging revenue tops $300 million. And they have some new stuff coming out this year. The final season of Stranger Things is one of them. Other ones not coming to mind. I cannot remember everything. Adding nearly 19 million subscribers in quarter 4 of 2024. So there you go. Higher revenue outlook. $15 billion buyback boost. Very nice. So, and as you can see, how it works here is that you see today's, fairly steady, but again, went up 1.35%. And then in the gray is the after hours. They reported right at 4 o'clock when the market closes. And so then you could see it went up. And then people were like, oh no, that's too much money. And so it came down to here. And then people were like, no, that's still on sale. We'll buy more. And then now steadily creeping up, and then a big little jump there. So we'll see what that does tomorrow. But up 14%. And you would have that in your, and that would be like part of the S&P 500, also part of the NASDAQ. That would be in your large cap fund for sure. And pretty cool. People love their tech stuff. So do not ever count yourself out of that. And I didn't say it today. Should probably say it every time. Or stop, since I do say it every time. But the NASDAQ, even though it was not higher than the S&P 500 today, the NASDAQ has beaten the S&P 500. In the last 15 years, it has been like all but 3 times. Or no, the last 16 years it's been all but 3 times. In the last 15, it would be all but... no, I can't say that. It has been... in the last 15 years, it's definitely been all but 3 times. And somewhere in there, the S&P 500 won 3 times. But overall, over a 15-year period, I would say you probably, if you're a S&P 500 only person, I would say you probably want to do some NASDAQ as well, if you're only doing index funds. Of course, Mr. Ramsey recommends managed funds because they can make more than these indexes. So why would, even after you subtract the higher expense ratio for the managed funds, you're going to pay a little bit more because those are managed. And those are like, and see how the managed funds work is they have extra of something or of different different funds. Like for example, they may have more Amazon than Tesla or any one of those stocks. They have some more than others. They decide how much percentage of the entire fund is one particular stock. Let's see, what else did I want? Oh yeah, so just to show it. Oh, I already clicked it. Just to show what is going on. So in the past year, 24.72% for the S&P 500. In the past year for NAS, 28.62. So was that 4 point something percent more? Yeah. Or 3.9 something. 62 and 72. Yeah, 3.9% more. So again, you would be, if your expense ratio was less than 3.9%, then that is making more money even after you subtract that the difference in the expense ratios. Because the index funds still have a little bit in there of expense ratio. And for 5 years, over 5 years, the last 5 years, S&P 500, 83.56%. And the NASDAQ over the last 5 years, hey look, 112.1%. So why leave the money on the table? At worst, you should have like 50% S&P 500 and 50% NASDAQ. And that's if you're not going to follow the Ramsey advice of doing managed funds instead of these indexes. Oh, where were we? We were praising Netflix. So that is for today, and it doesn't, I guess it doesn't have futures on. I guess the futures are the after hours trading, I guess, for that. So again, that's 14.27 now. It does keep changing because the after hours trading is still happening. I think it's 4 hours after the market closes at 4 p.m. Eastern time, and it's also the before market trading is 4 hours before the market opens, which is 9:30 p.m. I mean 9:30 a.m. excuse me, Eastern time. All right, let's get into some questions. What up, Di? What up, Trey? Di is telling Trey, we can always learn more here. That much is certain. We certainly can. Even myself, when I'm reading these articles and stuff like that, I do, and even the questions. There's like some things I don't know sometimes, and so I just Google it, and then at that point I know it if I remember it, instead of remembering, say, a band that Paul Carrick was in. One of them was Mike and the Mechanics. Another one was Ace. Did remember my water today. This episode of the Ramsey Show After Show brought to you by Crinkly Water Bottle. They've been with us since the beginning. Oh, let's see. So let's go. I think I was gonna say something, but I probably wasn't that good anyway. Sprider Man. Okay. I don't know what spride means. Why don't you spride? Baby step 4 question. Okay, I'll have a baby step 4 answer. Did I do this one already? Hey y'all, I neglected baby step 4 in 2024, but I'm on track to save 15% in retirement for the 2025 contribution year. Okay. Question: since I can still continue to to the neglected 24 contribution year in my Roth IRA until April 2025. Should I max out the 7,000 for the 2024 contribution year on top of the 15% I'm already contributing to retirement in 2025? No, you would not. You would not do extra. So, like, if you just say you didn't get out of debt until January 1st, so then you would not or you didn't get your full emergency fund until January 1st. So then you would not have contributed to 2024 at all. Now, you would have had to open a Roth IRA, or this Roth IRA in this case. You would have had to open that in the actual on December 31st at the latest. You would have had to open that Roth IRA for 2024. You can't open it once the calendar goes over. So if you had that account open already and you just hadn't been contributing to it, or you stopped while you were doing the baby steps, that kind of thing, and so you didn't max it out, you should always go to the previous year and max that one out first. And the reason is because you might make extra money during the new year, so you want to save all the room in that one. But you should max out the previous year, even though it is 2025 contributions. You still want it to apply to 2024 if you still can, and you can do that up to tax day is when the cutoff for that is. So you always do that just in case you get a windfall or something else where you can invest extra. So, like, if you don't make enough money to max it out every year, then you would simply just always be starting the year off right in January by contributing to the previous year's Roth IRA. Same thing works with the 401k as well. You can do that as well with that. But yes, you should always go back the year if you can. If you're not maxed out for the previous year, fill that first before contributing to the current year. But you shouldn't throw a lump sum in to do that. You would go to the next baby step. Like if you had extra money, like because you're not having to pay off debt anymore, and you're not having to save for full emergency fund because you should already have that before you're investing anything. So you don't have to do that. But anything else, you would not contribute more than 15%. So you're only doing 15%. You're not doing this and contributing to the previous year. That doesn't mean you contribute more than 15% at any given time. Like out of each paycheck, you would not do 15 to 2024 and then another 15 or even 1% more even to the 2025 contributions. You would not do that. That's what I think the person is asking, the way that it's phrased here. So you shouldn't do both. It should be just 15% of gross until you're on baby step 7. Then you can invest whatever you want. But you still have steps 5 and 6 to do as well, if they are applicable. If this person is renting and has no kids, congratulations, already on step 7. You can contribute extra to retirement if you'd like. But in that case, generally, you might be wanting to buy a house, so you would be saving a down payment instead of contributing extra to retirement savings. And you don't use your retirement savings as a piggy bank for down payment because there's penalties to take it out. Baby step 1 with little fires one after another. That happens quite often. Trey asked how I'm feeling or how Di is feeling. I don't know. I was sick one day last week. What day was that? Wednesday or Thursday? I can't remember what day it was. But yeah, it was just, it was bad. I was in bed most of the day, like all but 2 hours of the 24. I was in bed. And then the next day I felt much, much better. Baby step one with little fires, one after another. And I mean, this happens when people start the baby steps, and some people are just unlucky, but also some people think that things are emergencies that aren't emergencies, and they decide to do things that are optional, that aren't 100% necessary. Unless it's unless it's 100% necessary, you do not stop doing the baby steps to take care of these little fires. Like, it doesn't matter if you forgot your friend's birthday. You don't take money from the emergency fund or not pay debt in order to get your friend a present. You don't do stuff like that. You can make something, or you can plan something to do later once you've had time to pay off debt and save for the event. Let's see, just event, I guess. Okay, people do that on here for sure. I just started Dave Ramsey Baby Steps last month. I got my 100,000. That is 100,000. Some people would probably say $100,000 isn't enough emergency fund either. But no, starter emergency fund is just $1,000. And it's not supposed to be enough, so don't even come at me with that. Then I had to euthanize my dog. Okay. Sorry about that. That left me 408 to be exact. I was going to put another 3. So what you would do with that is, you could see, just like any human medical facility, they would generally let you pay payments, and then you wouldn't have to deplete your emergency fund. Let's see. I was going to put another 300 this month according to my bills, living expenses, but my dryer went out. Yep, so there's 500. I have to go out and get one. You could try to get that one repaired and see if it would be cheaper. You can get an estimate on it. Let's see, I'm getting a new one. Yeah, because the one I have was used and we had to repair it right off the rip. And I never heard of off the rip before. I guess that means right away, right off the bat is a saying. And the guy didn't honor his 30-day guarantee, right? Well, you went to a bad shop. So that doesn't mean automatically get a new one, the same way you wouldn't automatically get a new car because you had a bad experience with a beater before. And a few months later, it's out again. The baby steps feel like a long process. Yeah, and it's not fun either. And if you let all this stuff derail you by you thinking you have to have new items, you don't have to have new items. It's going to take longer. But at least I have the money on hand to get the replacement. Came here to have you all push me forward. All right. I would say, don't do that. Don't do dumb stuff. Like, always think you need to, when an old something dies, you should look into getting it repaired instead of doing that, including cars, etc., instead of just automatically going to a new one. And just, if your used car is not worth repairing, then you would still get another used car instead of a new car. You do not buy, even if you have the cash, you don't get new cars unless you are a millionaire. Financial Rooster 575 401k to 403b. 403b is the government version, like teachers have that, and some government employees have that. Hi, my husband and I are on baby step 2. What would Dave do flare though here? Let's see the dots. Let's open this up. What up, Daniel Wright? Thank you for joining us. Hi all. Hi guys. My husband and I are on baby step 2. I know baby step 2 doesn't include 401k, etc. And so, period, right there. We don't need any of this other stuff about what dumb crap you want to do, like probably continue to invest. Oh, but if they are teachers, then they don't have a choice. They have to put in for pension generally. Let's see. It doesn't include 401k, but got a new job about 6 months ago. And through my old employer, I had a 401k, and my new employer does a 403b. Last job was at a hospital, as is my current job. Oh, a hospital. All right. I only mention it because I saw somebody say it's for nonprofit companies. A 403b, yeah, it's generally like public service, I thought, because it's like teachers and government employees would have that. So I guess it depends on what type of hospital it is, maybe. I don't know. But if they said it's a 403b, I don't know. I don't know why they would be telling you incorrectly. But you can double check on that for sure. I called both companies to, number one, change my name as my husband and I got married in September, and number two, move my 401k to my 403b. All right. They're basically having me play phone tag to each other because HR is pretty useless at my job, and that's not fun either. But I mean, there should be somebody managing it above HR even. Like there should be like a brokerage. It would be inside a brokerage fund generally, and there would be somebody maybe that works at the company or that works at the brokerage firm that is administrating the 403b, and so that's probably who you should talk to and find out how to get that transferred over. Can someone please explain the difference in these? I still can't understand them when Googling the info. The 401k and 403b, I believe they are both tax-free contributions. So you don't pay taxes on the contributions to 401k. And I think the same is true with 403b. So you're not paying taxes on those contributions. Now, when it comes time to retire and you take the money out, you will have to pay taxes on the gains. So let's see. That's the dealio with that. Also, once I only have my 403b, do I need to open a personal 401k myself? No, you cannot do that. If you had your own business, you could open a SEP IRA. But you cannot open a 401k by yourself. That has to be offered through your job. You would be opening a Roth IRA, as it would be advised. Also, if your employer has the option, you should do the Roth 403b instead, because then you do pay taxes on the contributions, which would be that amount over your working lifetime. And then if you have any appreciable time in the market, your gains are going to be much, much more. And so if you have the Roth version of these accounts, then you don't pay tax on this much in retirement. All that's tax-free because you paid on the contributions ahead of time. Saw a comment on the Facebook page about doing something along those lines. Yeah, probably to open the Roth IRA, because yeah, you can't open a 401k. That's through your employer only. Cozy2K has a question. I have no debt and don't plan on moving out anytime soon. Mr. Ramsey advises that adults live not with mommy and daddy anymore, so they can be self-sufficient and they can get used to how the world works when mom and dad aren't paying for stuff, and when they can just get used to having to do things themselves. I have a Mercedes-Benz 2019. Currently I have 20K saved up and still going up. I have a current income of 4K a month. Soon graduate college with computer science degree, and that's going to change my income to 90K a year. Do you think it's smart for me to finance a car that's 80K? No way. There's no loans. Mr. I don't know if you're familiar with Mr. Ramsey, but he's the no debt guy. So yeah, you don't do that. And you also, even in cash, you don't buy a new car unless you are a millionaire. That means you have $1 million net worth. So that would be a, as our Australian friends say, that would be a NAR. N-A, what is it? N-A-U-R. NAR. And that means no for what we say. Yep. Do, 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 do. So you're gonna stay living with mommy and daddy, and again, not recommended by Mr. Ramsey. He likes adults to live by themselves, or at least not with mommy and daddy. You can have roommates or something like that. So basically, for teens, older teens, and young adults, young 20s, you should just be piling up cash until you are until you have your big boy job. When you're graduated college, debt free, and you have your big boy or big girl job, is when you would do that. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, Trey says no comp. Science grads that start off 100K a year and some that start around 65K, hit and miss. So don't use that income marker until you're making it. Exactly. Do not spend the money before you get the actual job. I would say don't spend the money until you actually get the first paycheck, even, just to make sure that happens. But yeah, there would be no loans. If you don't have any debt, congratulations, you are on step 3, that $20K that you have saved up. You can use that for your full emergency fund, and so then you can start investing. I wouldn't start doing investing though until you get that job in your degree field. But yeah, you don't buy a new car just if there's nothing wrong with the Benz from 2019. Why not drive that? My car is from 2005, and granted, I'm not a car guy, but if it still gets you from A to B, it's doing its job, and your money is better put in another area than, oh, I want a new car, or I want a newer car. I mean, that's your same thing as people getting the new iPhone every year or two. So that's not advised either. Cozy's dad planning to buy a house that's $1 million, and we all work and are never home, so I don't see the point to move out soon. Okay, it's so you can learn how to live life without mommy and daddy being involved in it. And THEY''RE. So didn't take any English with the computer classes, apparently. Just messing with you. Could have been a typo, or why is that spinning? It is spinning. Where is the internet? I think this works. Oh yeah, we're good now. Okay. All right. YouTube page was just spinning. Yeah, Trey says they're giving you a good head start. Don't blow it by getting loans that will eat up your income. Right. Right. So if you're debt free, what you want to do is keep it that way forever, ever. And the only thing you should ever get a loan for, ever, would be a mortgage for a house that you live in. No mortgage on rental properties. But of course, paying cash would be best for a house as well. But most people won't do that. Trey gives the Ramsey rules and not buy a vehicle that costs more than half of your yearly income. And that's the total of all vehicles that you have. So, for example, even if the new or new to you car that you wanted to get that's an upgrade, even if that was below half of your yearly income, you would not also be keeping the Benz as well, because that's too much tied up in depreciating assets. So that's a NAR again. NAUR. We say no here in the United States, but in Australia, some of them say NAR. Pay for vehicle cash, that's right. And again, used, not new. No new cars until you are a millionaire. Financial advice, alt, okay, is the username here. Should we buy a house? Married, 22 men, 23 female. Maybe he like older women. Just by 1 year. That's from, what is that from? Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. What would Dave do, Flair? We have been married for almost 3 years now and are planning to have kids next year and know where we want to be planted for the long term since both our families live in the same area. We are pre-approved for a $230,000 house, 20-year fixed, so that's a no. If you do the 20... If you're doing the 20 instead of a 15 so that the payment is affordable, then guess what? 230 is too much house. So you get that mortgage amount down by putting more down payment down. So that may mean waiting while you save longer. With a down payment of $90,000. Okay, and so does that mean the mortgage would only be $140 then? Or does that mean it's a $320,000 house? And so after the down payment, it would be $230 mortgage. So, but anyway, that would be a no. How much do they make? $23.10 and $290. That's $52.10 month take-home pay. So does that say how much the payment would be, or do I have to do math? Let's see. Take home not investing our 15% yet. Okay, after house and that's fine to put more on the house. To save up more down payment, even to do that. After house, we will. Okay, the maximum monthly payment we will have is $1,373, which is 26.4% of income. Okay, and see, that's the whole deal. So if you got a 15-year fixed, which is what's recommended, then that's going to be way over the 25% of take-home pay that is recommended. So sorry, you either save longer and have a higher down payment to put down, or you get a cheaper house, or you need to not care what Dave would do because you don't want to take his advice because you want. So you need to scale your lifestyle down, at least as far as house. You need to buy a cheaper house. And guess what? If that's like the going price for decent houses in your city, guess what? You don't make a high cost of living salary in that high cost of living area then. So, and the fix for that is not a 20-year instead of a 15-year mortgage. The fix for that is saving a larger down payment. And again, you can take up to 2 years off of investing. So you don't have to start investing for 2 years. So, but yeah, that means you can't get your house right now. And that's when people like most things. They like it to happen right now. And so Dave would not. What would Dave do? None of this dumb crap here that you're doing. Let's see. Wife will be getting a pay raise in September 2025. Is scheduled to get a pay raise. Not will be. You don't know that because it hasn't happened yet. And so you can't say, okay, well, we'll go ahead and buy a house now, including that pay raise. So that's a no. Again, they're doing it wrong. If we do this, we will be able to save about $10.50 a month after expenses. Am I missing something? Is this a bad idea? Yes. Are you ready? No, not with those numbers. You're ready to buy a cheaper house for sure. You can do that if you have 90,000 cash. And I mean, you know, assuming that you have the 90,000 already. If you don't have the 90,000 already, then you don't need to worry about it because you'll still be saving longer. So, but yeah, you don't base your loan, your mortgage amount on a possible pay raise because they could change their mind. Companies are allowed to do that. It's not a law that just because they've given pay raises every September, that kind of thing, that they have to again. So that's a no. To make a monthly minimum 25% of take-home pay. Okay, yeah, you can't count on that. Sorry. So what would Dave do? None of this that you're doing. You're trying to buy too much house. So that's a no. With not enough income, at least not yet. And even if you were making that extra $255 a month, now again, is that net or is that gross on that? That makes a difference. And also the 25 is like right there at you're trying to maximize the most it could be under the Dave guidelines. And so that allows you to save $1,050. So just a little over $1,000. When if the payment was lower, you could save more because you still have to do steps 4, 5, and 6. Or at least you don't have any kids yet, but you're planning on them. So that would be involved at some point, but at least you'd have to do investing for retirement and paying the house off early. So that's why you do that, and that's why you don't want to buy too much house. You'd be house poor. So, I mean, you can make this work. It's just going to take longer to save the down payment. So you get that down more. And, I mean, that may happen like right at the same time. You're done with the saving the down payment. And also that's when you get the raise in September. So you just wait until that happens instead of buying it too early. But of course, the average person, of course, would jump right in and do all of this dumb stuff. Not advised. Cozy dropped a like. Thank you so much. Much appreciated if everybody does that. Thanks for dropping by, Cozy. Brain Hacker says, pay off home with stock or keep doing what I'm doing. You should sell single stocks. If they are not in a retirement account, if it's just like in a brokerage account, you sell the single stocks and you cash them out and you apply that to whatever baby steps you're on. And if that's baby step 6, which is pay off the house early, yeah, you would do that. You don't debt leverage a mortgage, don't debt leverage a house in order to have extra savings or single stocks, or like any type of extra savings other than the full emergency fund, which is 6 months of expenses. You don't have more than 6 months of expenses because, again, that's debt leveraging the house to have that extra cash laying around. Not advised. I do fairly well in life. Okay, great. But in high debt, so that's not fairly well to me. But All right. Due to nature of business. That is probably one of the most justification stationy things I have ever. Is it gonna let me? Oh no, it's not. It doesn't let you do it when you. Oh, it would if I open the whole thing. Well, yeah, I gotta open the whole thing anyway because it's longer than the shows up there. Not that much longer though. Okay, so where are we? Due to nature of business, and so what this is, high debt due to nature of business. What this is called is justification station. And this person has a definitely has a timeshare at justification station. Let's see. Own a dental office, equity apps. I would say it owns you probably if you have high debt. Equity approximately $1 million. Dental office building, 800K. Yeah, that's what, that's what dentists and other practitioners like that want to do. They want to, they get their medical license, and then what they want to do is just immediately, instead of working for somebody else for a while to learn the business, they want to immediately start renting a place or buying an office and go into business for themselves always. And of course they shouldn't do it, because anytime you're and the person doing it says it's high debt, so admits it's high debt, that would be a no. You build businesses at the speed of cash. You do not take out loans to start a business. That's a no, because guess what happens to most businesses? They don't work out. The dental office building, $800,000. Yep, bought it. Home, $2.85 million. And so you bought all of this before you even started a dentistry practice. That was dumb as crap. Cars paid off. You can sell them to get out of some of your other debt if they are newer cars. $200K in IRA. 300K in liquid index fund stocks, about 50K in cash. The 300K you would, okay, if they're in index fund stocks, which their index fund is a fund, it's not a stock. I guess the stocks are in the index fund, but if that's not in a retirement account, if it's just in a brokerage account, you would liquidate that into actual cash, and you would pay that on some of your debt if you're trying to keep all this stuff. Have debt. 100K student loan debt on top of that. Great. The office building is 700K. Why does it say 800K? That's what it's worth. Home, 500K. No other debt. Well, that's plenty. That is plenty. Let's see, what is that? 500. So that's 1.2. So up here is what might be the net worth of it, or the value of the asset, maybe, is what's up here. So I'm not really sure, but it says have debt and then colon and all this. So I guess it's 500, and then 700 is $1.2 million. 1.2, 1.3. 1.4. $1.4 million. And the amount that you should have in debt, other than your house, would be 0. And you have more than 0. So 500K is the house. And so that's the only one that's allowed under the Ramsey advice. So otherwise, you're not doing the Ramsey advice. So, and you may have done this stuff before you ever heard of Dave Ramsey, so that's fine. So how you fix it is if the business is not paying for itself, and you can't pay this stuff off relatively quickly, and when you're talking in the millions or over $1 million, that may be 4 or 5 years, something like that. Generally, you bail if you can't pay it off in 2 years. But let's see, I make about $600K a year. All right, and so what you can do, it's all manageable. Yeah, if you say so. After debt payment and home expenses, have about 10 to 20K per month to apply toward the principal of the loan. Now, you wouldn't do that. You would pay off the business debt and what else did you have? Student loans. Yeah. Let's see. Office business, 100K, and then the office building is 700K. So I don't know how that breaks down, but yeah, you would pay off any of the business stuff and your student loans, if there are multiple, before you would pay off the mortgage, because mortgage is step 6. The other dumb stuff you did is step 2 debt, because you shouldn't have done that in the first place. So if you are making enough money to be able to get out of it, in like 2 to 4 years. I mean, it's up to you if you want to, be in baby step 2 for 5 years or however many years. That's up to you. And so when you say it's manageable, that's great. But also, he says, I have 10 to 20K per month. And so I would say keep it at 20K and you cut out whatever would make it 10K instead. Whatever you're paying 10K a month for, that's probably not things that are 100% necessary. To apply toward the principal of the loan. Yeah, so you wouldn't apply it to there. You would apply it to your business and student loans. Business debt and student loans. Plan was to keep the liquid index funds and just use my overflow cash flow. Nope, you would cash those out. And again, if they're in index funds, they're not liquid. You just may be calling it that because you can sell them. But again, you shouldn't do that if it's in a retirement account. So I'm assuming just a brokerage account, which you can cash that out at any time, which you should do and apply to your dumb business debt and your dumb student loan debt. Just use overflow class month to pay off debts one by one with higher interest rate. And that's not how it's done either. It's smallest to largest if you'd like to follow the Ramsey advice. At this rate, according to my calculations, I can pay off $500,000 home in about 2 years. And so that's not, you don't keep this other debt around to pay off the home first, because again, that's step 6 and your other debt is step 2. So that's the way you do it if you want to follow the Ramsey advice. Millions of documented success stories on that. The way you want to do it, I'm not aware of any documented stats on that. So as far as success on there. My question that I've been debating for a while after listening to the show time to time. So, you know what he says on the show to do? For everybody except you, for everybody that's called with similar situation, that's still the advice for you too. It doesn't matter. Your specific little situation is not an exception. So, and that's a big problem that people have. They always think they are the exception just because it's the thing they want to do. Let's see. Should I just sell my 300K position? Capital gains tax will kill me though. Yes. And pay off more loan. Yes, but not the house. You pay off the other loans, and also you sell any other things you have, those paid off cars, if those are brand new. Hey, how about you sell those off and then you have a beater? How about that? How about that? So you need to base your spending, and definitely do a budget if you're not doing a budget already. And you base your spending on the amount of debt you have and need to pay off, not on the 600K income a year, because that's like standard doctor stuff. Is that they immediately get out of medical school, and then they get their job, and then they basically they raise their spending by an appropriate amount, or not appropriate, but by the same variable of what they were making before and what they're making now, and they raise their spending the same amount, and that doesn't help. That doesn't give you any extra. That's all the money going away, whereas you need to pay off this debt. So you're doing it wrong. So don't know. Generally people that are doing it wrong already, um, who knows? Could be some of them. Let's see. There's 20 comments. Sometimes people just want somebody to agree with them, because you could leave Reddit out of it and not ask anybody's opinion and just do what you want to do. You can do that. You can also, even though you listen to Ramsey show, you can also not do Dave's advice if you want to do it. It's up to you. It's your life and your money. You don't have to take Dave's advice. Now, you should take Dave's advice 100% for sure. So, well, so, but I don't know if this person actually is looking for advice again, or just wants somebody to tell him to, oh yeah, go ahead and do what you want to do. And it's, it's Reddit. It's the internet. Somebody will say, yeah, what you're doing, even though it's dumb as crap, will tell you, no matter how dumb as crap it is, they will tell you it's a good idea, because they're just as dumb as you are. Let's see. Feeling discouraged. This is from SJ Brazzy. Don't be discouraged. Little pitchy dog, not going to Hollywood. Is that to realize it's hard to take courage? That didn't even sound anything like that, but that's what is it? You say go slow. Time after time. Cyndi Lauper. Anyway, feeling discouraged. Hard to take courage is that line. So here's the background, and there's dots. So open it up. Not that long. So here's the background. Me and my husband, that should be my husband, and I have been married 7 years. We're 31 years old, and we have 2 toddlers. We've rented since we got married, and now we are done giving our money away to rent. And that's a problem people have a lot of times. Oh, we're wasting money on rent. We should just get into debt with a house just so we get equity. And that's not always the case. It's not always a mistake to rent. Not at all. We'd like to buy a house. Most people would. That doesn't mean you do it. That doesn't mean you're in a position to do it. We are doing the baby steps. Excellent. We're out of debt. Fabulous. Husband has been working in engineering in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and his same job for 5 years. His take home is $4,881 per month. According to Dave Ramsey's How much house can I afford? They have how much house here instead of how much house. Calculator, we can afford a house that costs $92,000. Yeah, sorry about that. Hey, got a great idea. If you want to buy a bigger house, you got to make more money. Or you save longer and wait to buy it, which people are not that good at waiting. Generally, they do not like to wait. So yeah, where did you say? Chattanooga, Tennessee, 92. I don't know that Chattanooga is that cheap. Actually cried when I saw that number. Sorry, you don't make enough money. What do you want to pass just because you want a bigger house? Sorry, that is not how it works. That's not how numbers work. Numbers don't change just because you're sad. That doesn't work like that. I stay home with the kids because daycare costs crazy money. Indeed. And so there's limited money. So you can only do what your income will allow you to do. And I don't want to give 75% of my paycheck to someone else to raise my kids. That's fine, but then again, you only have one income, and so you're limited to that. Now, you could do some work on the weekends if he's going to be home on the weekends, right? Or you could work nights once he's home. You can do work from home of some type, like while the kids are asleep. Do a little bit at night, something. You can figure out what to do. You can try to bring in more money to make the situation tenable, but you don't get a pass because you don't make enough money in a high cost of living area. So you could also check out of the city. You can check like in the suburb areas or the outskirts or whatever you want to call it, where the cheaper area that's around there, and you could just move. Now that may mean a larger commute, but that's up to you to decide. The thing to not do is just to go ahead and do it anyway because you want it. I have a social work degree, so I wasn't making much before, right? And so if you still have debt, that would be a no on the house anyway. You would not be doing that. You got to be out of debt and have your full emergency fund before you even start to save the down payment. So, you're thinking about doing it wrong. My youngest won't start school for another 3 or 4 years, and that's if we don't decide to homeschool. Okay, we can never afford a home at this rate. Yes, you can. You just have to save a longer down payment, and you have to tighten the budget. Sorry, that's the way it works if you want to live in that area. Otherwise, check for a cheaper area. You don't get a pass on math just because you want it, just because you want to stay there in that area. Any encouragement or advice? Yeah, be realistic. Stop looking for a pass on the math. His calculator is like that so that you don't do dumb crap and buy too much house. Even with a part-time job for me to work a few hours a week, it would increase our monthly income by around $500, right? Which doesn't change much in the amount of house we can afford. Right, and that's correct. And so that's further evidence that that you don't make enough. You don't make enough. Now, what else do we have going on there? Is there too much in debt payment? It says out of debt, though. Where's all that 4881 going to? So that's what 105 comments there. So if I was actually counseling this person, or they ask me personally where I could get other information. So that's not what it says. So that's 4,800. How much are you renting for now? How much is that? And so you could move down in where you're renting and move to somewhere cheaper and rent cheaper. And that would allow you to save up more down payment. That's the only way you can stay in a high cost of living area without making high cost of living money. But you would think take home being 4,800, a lot of people would love to have 4,800 per month. And so what are you spending on? I mean, some of it's the 2 toddlers. Are you going crazy buying stuff for 2 toddlers? they don't need that much stuff. And stop going somewhere and thinking something's cute and having to buy it. So that's what I would want to find out, where that 4881 is going. So if you said you're out of debt, so hopefully that's all of step 2 debt, and so there would be no cars. So if you have newer cars, you can sell them. If you have more than 2 cars, that should be the maximum amount of cars you have. If you have any other assets, you can sell them. But basically, I would think the problem would be budgeting here with 4881 and it all going away. And so I'm taking a look at the budget and doing that. And again, then you save up again every extra penny. Rather than spending it on some dumb crap, you add it to the down payment, and then eventually that mortgage becomes, it needs to become 92,000 apparently. So if you want to buy a $200,000 house, guess what? $108,000 down payment then. Sorry, that is the math. So, everybody wants things. They think they're entitled to things. And then they want an exception on the math. Math works the same for everybody. So just because you want it and you're in that little situation, you might need to change your little situation to make it better for you. But yeah, I would see if you can make work with the budget. Snoo Foxes 4759. Hey everyone, hi guys. 27-year-old man with a little over 110K saved, sitting in CDs. What would you do? Let's see what the dealio is. Is it? No, there's no more to this. All right. I am an artist. I would love to be a successful artist. Okay, like Frank Fazzetta or Joe Madureira. Great. I would like to be Phil Collins, or maybe somebody newer. Let's see who would be somebody newer. I'll try to think of somebody. Yeah, I'm old. My day job is as a graphic designer is fulfilling. My day job is as a graphic designer is fulfilling, or you can put my day job without the is here as a graphic designer is fulfilling, and that would make sense, but not both. And I do enjoy it. Great. Keep doing it. And you do successful artist stuff like Frank and Joe in your spare time as a hobby until you can turn it into making money, and then you still keep the other job while you're continuing to do that until you can ramp that side hustle up to be the full-time job, if that's what you want to do. I do one day aspire, my goodness, to have a house, but not in the next 5 years. Okay. I would like to min-max my money. Min-max that's where you do, that's where you take a lot of effort to do something. It comes from video games, especially MMORPG, massively multiplayer, online role-playing games. And that's where you would do something that takes you hours a day for many months sometimes. And you do that in the game in order to make enough money to buy something or to get the skill to do something. That gives you like 0.00001 more spell power. So that's the min part of it. And the max part of it is you are doing a lot of work to get that very little increase in power. But of course, you got to have all the power you can get when you are doing raiding and stuff and trying to complete dungeons and so forth. Spent far too much time doing that previously on Coach Steve Money. Let's see, min-max my money, but I would like it to remain a bit liquid as I'm scared of putting my hard savings into something that I will not see until I am retired. Okay, there's a middle ground, and if you have 5 years, you can do that. You can put it in a brokerage account, and it'll make more than a dumb CD. A high yield savings account may make more than that CD as well. Just depends on the rates of the CD. So if you cannot say definitely, I will not be using it for 5 years. 5 years from today is the first time that I would definitely be using it. You can use the market as a piggy bank, and you can invest that way. Otherwise, you are just putting it in the high yield savings or the CD. Mr. Ramsey, not a fan of the CD because it's locked in like that. If you do a high yield savings account, then you can take it out without penalty at any time. And someone, this will be one of my many resources, so feel free to give input. Thank you. P.S. Looking to move to Orlando, Florida soon with my girlfriend. Okay, so if you're going to move to a different city and live with girlfriend, guess what? Get married first. So you're doing multiple things wrong here. And so sitting in the CDs may not be. Mr. Ramsey doesn't like CDs. So I would check high yield saving account rates and then maybe move it over there once the CD period when that mature date on the CD arrives, because you do have to wait, otherwise that's a penalty. So yeah, so that's the advice on that. So you gotta have definite where you will not definitely 100% need it for 5 years, and then you can use the market and make more money than it would in the high yield savings account or CD. And otherwise, your high yield savings account or CD, that's the best you can do with it. And of course, this will be one of my many resources, so feel free to give input. What kind of other resources? And you didn't say what those are, and so no clue. No clue. So, and don't know if that would change the advice at all. It wouldn't as far as whether to use the stock market, but person's scared anyway. So if you're scared of it, and that is the problem, because it's less likely to be down in any 5-year period, but it still could possibly be right when you want to use the money. And so that is the problem with that. And when you put in a high yield savings account, it never loses money. It always makes interest. But it's just not as much gains as is possible in the stock market. So, but yeah, get married first before moving even. Before moving in. Probably lives with a girlfriend already, so that is not advised. Duh. Are PDS debt services legit? It's been tough managing. Probably not. It is tough managing my growing credit card bills. Well, stop spending money on cards then. And I'm starting to explore options like PDS debt services and Freedom Debt Relief. Yeah, they claim to help by negotiating payments with creditors and setting up a payment plan. Okay, so guess what? Okay, so here's what they do. And instead of giving them thousands of dollars to do this, you can do it your lazy self. People love to run to these debt service companies and Freedom Debt Relief companies, because even in the best case scenario where they're not trying to scam you, what they do is you give all your payment money to them and they don't pay the bill. So your debts go into collections, destroying your credit if you care about that. We generally don't here in Ramsey world. But so that's going to destroy your credit, right? Okay, so not paying it, you can do, and keeping the money, you can do that yourself. You don't have to give them the money so that they can keep it themselves. And what they do is they let it sit in collections, and then after X number of months, years, whatever, they contact the company, and then they try to negotiate a settlement before that. So that's what these people do. And you can do that when people get stressed about money and stuff and things like this. Then they do like other people to handle it for them. And you know, it's along the same lines of doing a debt consolidation, as Dave calls it, because it's a because it makes you think you've done something. Like, you know, when you move it around from one place to the other, it makes you think you've done something where you haven't. If you have not lowered the amount of debt that you owe, then you haven't done anything. But you can do all this and keep your thousands of dollars instead of giving it to somebody else to do. You can not pay it and let it go into collections and then settle. You can do that. And set up a payment plan. You can do that as well. Generally, though, you would want a settlement to be in full without the payment plan. But I'm a bit wary. Yeah, they probably say the payment plan, so you know that you have to give them money every month. A bit wary. That is wise to be wary. I'm curious if there are downsides. Yes, like unexpected charges. Yeah, that can happen. Or long-term impacts that might not be obvious right away. Well, all this would probably be in the paperwork you sign, but who reads that? So you probably won't read that, but it should say that this is going to destroy your credit. And some people have said that their Freedom Debt Relief or whatever company they used did tell them this is going to destroy your credit. But you can destroy your credit all by yourself without giving them any money. Don't do that. You're better off not doing that. Same way as you're better off not using a dealer to buy a car. Because dealer's going to take a bite. And these debt services companies, they take a big bite out of you. And they don't go out of their way to tell you, okay, so you need to send all your money that you would normally send to payments. You need to send that to us every month. And we are just going to keep that. We are not going to pay your bill. We're going to let it go into collections so that we can settle it later. And you can do that your lazy self. If you've gone through it or know someone who has, would really help me decide what to do next. Yeah, don't do that. Try to pay it off. You can call and ask to see if they can lower the interest rate. Something like that. You can call them and tell them to close the card to new services. That kind of thing. Or new charges, sorry. So that it doesn't allow you to put more money on it. So, I mean, that's the first thing to paying off credit cards is you stop using them. All right. Boomer 5H. Thought it was hours. Boomer or Boom R5H1NE. Trying to think what that would be. Feeling stuck, need direct. Let's give some direction, shall we? Current situation. Me and spouse, should be my spouse and I, sold our home in 2020 and rolled the cash into a threeplex. Beep, 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 beep. House hacking not advised by Mr. Ramsey. Currently, we live in a unit on the threeplex with our 6-month-old. We used the leftover money from the sale, pardon me, to buy land that we plan to build our forever home on. And people always do that. They say, well, we're gonna buy land and we want to build our temporary home on. People always say the forever home justification station. They're justifying the land purchase. Okay, and so guess what's going to happen? If you buy land and then you build a house on it, unless you're building the house, and maybe even if you are building the house, it's going to cost more money than if you bought a new house that somebody else built. So dumb. I mean, if you have plenty of money and that's what you want to do, great, knock yourself out. If you don't have any debt, you're not ready to buy a house at all. And so you shouldn't have bought a new one. And especially not one that you're house hacking, because I don't want to live in the same plex with my renters. That doesn't sound fun at all. Where are we? Forever home on. Currently, we both make pretty good money, approximately $250,000 gross combined. We've been developing the property with cash so far, just land clearing, and have started talking to builders. We have a budget of around $650,000 and have $100K saved. We wanted our mortgage around $4,500. Again, that should be, and you're not an exception just because you want to have land first and then build a forever home on it. You don't get to be an exception. 25% of take-home pay on a 15-year fixed rate mortgage. If it's more than that, the answer is no. The problem is we looked at a mortgage calculator and found out we were dumb by thinking we could do this, and realized how much money we are paying in interest with current rates. Yep. It would be about approximately $40,000 a year for the first few years just in interest. Yeah, hey, that's how mortgages work. That's how loans work, babe. With our current living situation, we have almost no bills. Both cars are paid off. Both cars paid are off. Okay. Are paid off. And live for free in our unit. You had to buy the threeplex. So that's not really living for free in it. Fortunately, it is all paid off. We talked about saving up for 35 years to bring the cost down. Yeah, that's how you do that. That's the only way to do that. But then also worry about home cost rising. Yeah, that's going to happen. And the interest rate could be larger too. So what you do, you don't go ahead and use that as justification to buy a house now if you can't afford it. House is not going to be a blessing to you. So you do not do that. Just because you're worried about home costs rising. So the longer it takes, you're going to be susceptible to higher house prices. But again, that doesn't give you carte blanche to just go ahead and do it now, even though it's already too high for you. So why are you worried about it being more in the future? Because you're trying to buy now when it's more than you should be buying now. We want to have a home again, but also don't want to be house poor. Well, a home doesn't have to be a house. It can be the plex that you live in. But we also don't want to be house poor. You have to pick one. Or you wait and you save up a much larger down payment. And also, hey, guess what? A lot of people that make more than $100K per year, they tend to spend money on dumb stuff that's not necessary. And so if you prioritize having a house or even building that one, which you're paying more automatically for doing that, then you can do that. Oh, let's see, where were we? Want to have a home again? So you're already living somewhere, so that's your home. Yeah, I don't want to be a house owner and retire at a decent age. Yeah. What would other people do in our situation? All kinds of stuff. Why would you ask that question? Other people would do many number of things. 12 people answered, and so probably 12 different answers. Edit, we are currently 39 female and 35 male and want to retire early if possible. Hey, make up your mind. So you cannot do all of this stuff all at the same time. You can't buy too much house or buy any house. You can't do all of that and also do things to retire early. That's not the same thing. Buying a house makes it take longer because you got to pay off the house. If possible, I can retire and start my pension check in 5 years, and that's going to be a no if you're going to buy a house. That's that expensive. So what don't you understand? You're trying to do everything, and the money is limited. So you can't. So there's no retire. Hey, live in the threeplex forever, and then you can retire early for sure. How about that? Instead of buying land and having a dream home, you can sell the land and never build the home. You can possibly even upgrade out of the threeplex to an actual house, but it needs to be within reason, within the Ramsey guidelines. And then you might be able to retire early, but 5 years, that's not that long. The house is not going to be paid off by then. So you do not retire before your house is paid off. Keep working. Retire early. Everybody always wants to do that. Tech BJJ. Should we pay some / all of my wife's parent plus loan? Parent plus loan. If she told them she would help, or if she is a co-signer on it, yeah, but otherwise it's not necessary, but it's up to you. That's up to the individual. Let's see what's going on here. This is more of a moral question than a finance question. Well, that's, that's going to be up to individual people. So it depends on your morals. So it should be based on your morals, not somebody else's. But I see questions like this all the time on the call-in show. Should we pay my wife's parent $35K parent plus loan? First of all, is if you have the cash to pay it all right now, that would be one thing. Let's see, my wife and I have been married 6 years and now have 2 kids. Now that all the lockdown deferrals are over and payments are restarting, our parents are asking us to make payments on the loan. Boop, boop, boo doo. So it's not just a moral thing about you think you should do that. The parents are like, yeah, we don't want to pay that. We took it out, but we don't want to pay that. Now, did they have an agreement with wifey? They say, we'll get this out for you. We'll take this out for you. But you need to pay it back when you get your post-college job, hopefully in your degree field. And hopefully wife is working in her degree field and didn't decide to stay home with babies. Because people don't think about that when they take out student loans. They never think, oh, I might not graduate. They never think, oh, I might want to stay home with my babies. So I probably will, as a matter of fact, want to stay home with my babies. So maybe I shouldn't take out this student loan. But they don't think that far ahead. Now that all the lockdown deferrals are over, and did I read that already? I did. I have to make payments on the loan right now. We can't even afford to. However, we in the process of selling our house, in which we have $150,000 worth of equity. So we'll be debt free and could pay it off if we choose to. Only one O in that kind of two. Choose two would be also. Her parents have a paid off house on a 20-acre lot and are not financially struggling either. Well, how do you know? Maybe they are and you just don't realize it. Or they're just greedy then. I don't know. But again, it's did they have any understanding with wifey about paying that? Otherwise, you're not legally required to do that. The reason I'm hesitant to pay is, number one, I was not aware of this debt when we got married. Tough crap. So you marry it whether you were told about it or not. You married it. My wife and I did a credit check on her before we got married to confirm the amount, and she had some of her own loans on there, but the Parent Plus loan was not on there, of course. Right, because she's not liable for it. Number two, my wife never graduated. Boop, 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 doo. And is now a stay-at-home mom. See? And will likely not be employed anytime soon. Yeah, don't take out student loans, kids. My goodness. I don't know what agreements were made about who is repaying. I got a great idea. How about instead of running to Reddit, how about you talk to your wife and ask? I mean, obviously you weren't told about it, but again, since it's not in her name, she's not liable for it. So it may not have occurred to her that you would need to know that. So you need to ask your wife. We don't know. And again, do that before running to Reddit. My goodness, communication, people. But I feel like, for me, that's a moot point, because hide the debt, get married, and have your future husband work overtime to pay it off is not a morally acceptable repayment plan. Okay, all right. My boy mad about it. I mean, I get it. I get it. And it never comes up if the parents just pay it off, but they want her to pay it. And so, I mean, and that could be, I can understand feeling like that if she actually took the loan from them, accepted the loan amount, because you don't have to. You can say, no, I'm not doing this. Here's all the money back. You just pay it off immediately. So, yeah. But she chose to do that. And then she chose to be a stay-at-home mom and not be employed ever. Oh, also she didn't even graduate. Didn't graduate? See? So, it's the trifecta. Yeah, and so that's not... Well, you knew she never graduated. And you know she's a stay-at-home mom. Didn't know about the Parent Plus loan, though. I get it. Mad at her. You need to communicate about that. You need to talk about that. And if you can't get over that, you need to go to counseling. I would assume the plan was for her to graduate. Yes, it was. Get a good paying job. Yes, it was. And pay back the loan. Yes, it was. But what happened was she dropped out, got a low paying job and couldn't pay it back. Then eventually got married and became a stay-at-home mom. Yep, that's exactly what happened. You have a good understanding of the situation. Our oldest is 3, and for the first 2 years, her parents showed pretty much no interest in having a relationship with their grandchildren. Okay, so you got other issues than that. So why would you be surprised they want you to pay it? Or her to pay it anyway. But if she's not working, that'll be basically you making the money to pay for it. Where are we at? However, recently, in the past 8 months or so, they have. Oh, so they decided they wanted a relationship with the grandchildren. Okay. You know, I mean, they might need some counseling too. Who knows? Not a lot, but some. Okay. I don't think we should be obligated to repay any of the loan, but for the sake of being amicable and giving my children a better chance at having a relationship with their grandparents. Well, I mean, that might, if they're buttholes, that's not a good thing, regardless of the blood. We can maybe put down 10K on it or something. Well, you'd have to work that out with them, not Reddit. Not any of us. I suppose. It probably means I suppose that could also have a chance of backfiring. Indeed, they'd be like, well, oh, you paid that, you can pay more on it then. I may see it as a charity to them while they still interpret it as us screwing them over, and it just makes them more upset. Right. Because, yeah, I mean, that'll start doing, I mean, they could be upset no matter what. You can't control that. Any suggestions? Yeah, you have your wife talk to them and find out what's up with that. But your wife probably already knows, so where did it say? Did it say he was guessing? I'm guessing that I would assume the plan was for her to graduate. Right. Again, why are you on Reddit assuming stuff when you are married to the person that you could find out for sure from? Why don't you ask her? So, and that is the dumbest stuff people do about money, is they do not, if there's an issue, they don't talk to spouse about it. Because they don't want to have the confrontation or whatever. Instead, just want to go to Reddit and ask for suggestions, which doesn't help if you don't know what the case was then. So you're not legally obligated to it. And again, being morally obligated, that would be depend on the person. So if she doesn't want to pay it off and doesn't care about the relationship, you know, and how it could affect the relationship, then that's fine. Don't pay it off. If you want to go ahead and pay it off, and like you said, you can't see, you don't get to control any of this. The only thing you get to control is if you pay it or not. You can't control the backlash from that. You can't say, okay, well, you know, I could do $10,000 of it, and there would still be $25K left. So I want to give them the $10,000, and I don't want them to be mad and ask for more. So you don't get to control any of that. You just get to control what you do. That's all you can control. So, and you need to talk to your wife about it, and your wife needs to talk to them about it, probably without you being involved. But you guys definitely had talked about it ahead of time and worked out possible options that you are agreeable to, that you both agree to. Nutty things with money, man. Nutty things with money and family. That's why you don't loan money ever to anybody. You don't loan or borrow money ever, except to, you know, mortgage for a house. But you don't do that. Especially you don't borrow or loan money to family or friends. That way you don't have this problem. Usual Tangerine 987. Pay off the house if you're in baby step 6. Probably. Let's see. My husband and I are both 28, and I am pregnant with our first child. So, no, you do not pay off the house. You keep the cash liquid. You just pile up cash. The baby steps are paused until mommy and baby are both home safe. And then any money that you have stacked up beyond the full emergency fund, that can go to whatever baby step you're on. And if it's six, it's six. Which is pay off the house early. We live in a lower cost of living area, the Midwest, hashtag Midwest. Definitely lower cost than a lot of cities on the coasts. Our household income has increased from $310,000 to $450,000 in the last 6 months. From moving companies, I was laid off and landed a higher salary. That's fun when that works out. Husband moved companies around the same time, also with higher salary. Great. We have $1.3 million in cash savings investments. Okay. You should only have 6 months of emergency fund, 6 months of expenses in the emergency fund. Beyond that, you shouldn't have any cash reserves, just for sinking funds for known upcoming expenses. So, and the investments, that's different things, should be retirement investing. So let's see, 400K of this is cash in a high yield savings account, and that's a no. Oh, as our emergency fund, future family car fund, child care expense fund, etc. Okay, so here's where it gets sticky, because when you lump it all together, and the 400K may be an arbitrary number, but you need to figure out what 6 months of expenses is at the maximum, and that's your emergency fund, and then an exact X amount for family car fund and so forth. And so you don't want to just keep putting money in there when you could be paying off the house early, for example. We've been maxing IRAs, 401ks, health savings accounts. Okay, since we started working. All right, that should only be 15% until the house is paid off. Additional investments all in brokerage accounts. Brokerage accounts you can liquidate to pay off the house, which you should do before having any extra investing other than the 15% of gross income into retirement accounts. So you don't do any on the side investing. That's a no, 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 no. We bought our house 3 years ago with a 30-year mortgage. Bad. 15-year fixed. So our interest rate is 2.5. So we don't play the interest rate game of, well, I can make more in the market if I invest more than the 2.5%. So that doesn't matter. Baby steps are baby steps for a reason, is to minimize risk. And hey, guess what? Thinking about retirement, if that house is paid off, then you need less money in retirement because you don't have a rent or mortgage payment. We have about $200,000 in equity, as we had put a good amount down up front. Great. No PMI. Great. And we have close to 400K left on the mortgage. I see where it's going. With the recent increase in our salary and knowing we are hoarding too much cash, absolutely, we are torn as to where we should be putting the additional income. You would apply it to whatever baby step you haven't been applying it to already. So only 15% here then. If you, I would make sure child is home safe with mom before putting anything in college, before setting up a ESA or 529 fund, before saving anything like that. And I would move to the step 6 and pay off the house. Yes, do that. Pay it off today. Actually, when was this? 5 days ago? I would have paid it off that day. That's what I would have told the person to do. Torn is where she would put in additional income. Yeah. With our low interest rate, we really can't justify extra payments or paying off the mortgage early. Knowing a high yield savings account earns a minimum 4.5 So you would be making 2%. You're only making the difference. You're not making the 4.5. And that's if you have, let's see, you have that much in there and that much on the, so it should be, yeah. So, I mean, it's as close in this situation as to apples as you can get on that. And so, let's see. So again, and again, just making decisions off the calculator. So the problem with the calculator does not have a risk button. Coming to Dave Ramsey page to try to understand the perspective of why so many people recommend paying extra on the house, paying off the house. That's so it's paid off. It's less risk if you don't have a mortgage. Then you are 100% debt free. You have no debt of any kind, and that is better than having a mortgage. So it's all about risk. So you are debt leveraging also. You're debt leveraging in order to have extra money in a high yield savings account instead of paying the house off early. So pay the house off early if you want to follow Mr. Ramsey's advice. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But oh look, we really can't justify any extra payments. The flare you used, make up your dumb mind. It's what would Dave do? So you know darn well what Dave would do already, and you don't want to do it. So I've explained the reason. That is the risk. And because it's debt leverage. You're debt leveraging your mortgage, your house, in order to have an investment that makes more than the interest costs. And so that is not advised. So, but guess what? If you pay off the house, then you're in step 7, you can invest that money immediately. You can invest the mortgage payment that you're now no longer making. So that's that. Up to you if you want to follow the Ramsey advice. Unusual. Oh, did that one already. Nephew settlement. Okay. Spending nephew's money, apparently. Some New York questions. Okay. My nephew will be getting access to his settlement money from an accident years ago in December. The settlement is for $14,000. What should he do with the money? He would apply it to whatever baby step he's on. He'll be going to community college, and it should all be covered by financial aid. I was going to suggest $5,000 to open a Roth IRA. Also suggest he puts 15% of paycheck in automatically once he has a job, $5,000 for his emergency fund, and one. Okay, so all that's great, and your little trying to give him the numbers of what to do is great, but there wasn't any more to it. But for apparently, if going to college, I'm assuming late teens, early 20s, and the advice for kids like that. People still in college even, it is that you just pile up cash. You don't try to lock up the money in any kind of investment or anything like that, especially not retirement investment. Don't do that. Guess what? Because the kid might need to buy a car. Needs money to move out of the parents' house eventually. So basically, you would just pile up cash. And then once you graduate college debt free, then you start the baby steps. And you can apply any money that you have that you had just been piling up. You can immediately start applying that to baby steps after you have graduated college and have your first big boy or big girl job. 2,000 for him to have pocket money while in school and working. You're trying to plan everything out, and you can't do it like that. But also, none of that should be done except piling up cash. Now, that can go into a high yield savings account. That's fine. I would not start retirement yet. He can do that when he gets a big boy job. And doesn't need to worry about the 5,000 for emergency fund because he is just piling up cash. So all of his money could be accessible for any emergencies. So all that will take care of itself. So you don't have to figure out a percentage or an actual amount to do to any of this stuff. You just pile up cash until you graduate debt free. High yield savings account is fine for that money. 1 to 3 day transfer. Always leave time for that. And that's why you don't put your emergency fund in a high yield savings account that doesn't have immediate access by debit or card or check writing. And you have to wait 1 to 3 days. Guess what? Emergencies don't wait 1 to 3 days. That's the reason on that. Did I change that to? Yes, I did. Okay. Just making sure I set it to live chat instead of top chat. Oh, this person was deleted by the person who originally posted it. Seeking advice. Is it still on the thing? Oh, some of it's still here. Okay, let's read it. And I mean, sometimes they post on here and then because they get notified whenever there's any comment put on there, and so maybe got tired of the continuous. Let's see, there's only 9 though, but didn't realize that would happen, or kept looking at it and then people answering things they didn't want to see. Who knows? But let's see what we got here. 30 female, 33 weeks pregnant. So you are paused on the baby steps. That's called stork mode. If it's because of other kind of emergency, it would be called storm mode. But it's stork mode. If you're pregnant, you are paused on the baby steps and you just pile up cash until mom and baby are home safe. With debt of 20K. Long story short, I was really good on my finances after you stop doing debt, maybe. I had work, good credit, budgeting, etc. By the end of 2023, I changed my job, but didn't work. So you didn't change your job. You just stopped working one and didn't work. That debt, which was higher, it's money I lent to a family member in an emergency 2 years ago. Yeah, you don't do that. You either give them money or you let them fend for themselves. It can be a gift. You do not loan money to family members because of problems like this. They say they will pay, but meanwhile, I'm taking it as mine. I know I shouldn't have lent it. Learn the lesson. Great. I have used all my savings in order to lower the debt, which was 40K. However, without actual income, it's hard to continue. Yeah, that's not going to change. The way you make your finances better is with your income. If you don't have income, the baby steps don't move. Unless, like, you have a $1 million house or something like that you can sell and move down in house, and then you have extra money from the equity that can be used to do however many baby steps you can do. Savings to lower the debt, which was $40,000. However, without actually being hard to continue. Not on 2024, but in 2024, I looked for a job. I applied to any job position from cashier to assistant, etc., but there was no success. I went to different places to apply in person with the common Oh, that's right, I forgot. Deleted it. So now what would that be? Went to different places to apply in person with the common folk. Is that what that is? Or with the I don't know what would be after that, but that's weird. Okay, yeah, you gotta work. Get to work. If you can't find a job, then you start applying at things that you think you're too good for, like the Taco Bell or whatever. Downtown Fox 6024 says, I feel like for me, I'm missing a piece of the puzzle for baby steps in terms of financial freedom or financial growth. Okay, what is it that you don't understand about the baby steps? Because they are really simple. Let's see. Okay, so baby step 4. So I'm on baby step 4. So great. So apparently figured out what steps 1, 2, and 3 were. Okay, great. Debt free, car paid off, currently rent. Great. So actually, if you're investing, all right, you're in baby step 4. You're investing, and if you have no children, or you're already started saving for the college, then and you're renting, you're in baby step 7. Congratulations. Instead of baby step 4. It has taken me about 4 years to get to this point of debt free. Okay. Only recently, last year, I started investing in both my 401k and Roth IRA. Okay, so you have started. So that means you're not at the beginning of it. That means since you've started it, that automatically puts you on step 7 if you have no children. I also invest an additional 1k by taxable brokerage account as well. And on step 7, that's fine. You can invest as much as you want. You're not limited to the 15% of gross income into retirement. But I stopped this year because I feel like, for me, I've been putting too much money into long-term investments. What else do you need to do with money? You're going to save for a house? I gross roughly 35 to 40k a year annually, or $18 an hour. My take-home can vary between $2,100 to $2,400 a month. Okay, my monthly rent and utilities, electricity, water, internet is about $1,100. Gas I spend about $140. That's a lot of running the road. I would try not to drive so many places. May have a long commute. Don't know. That's the kind of thing I always ask about when I see numbers that are that high. I realize everybody's not like me, where you just basically drive to work and to the store, and that's about it. And you're not trying to go somewhere on your off days every single time, or do trips and stuff like that. I don't do that, especially on the earlier baby steps. You wouldn't be doing that. And I put away $600 a month to afford to max out my Roth for the rest of the year. Okay, so you wouldn't do that. That's as dumb as crap. You would not do that. You would put that in immediately so you get that growth. You don't save up a chunk to put in there. Oh, I see. I see. So, okay. So to max it out I guess that would be right now, she's putting away $600 a month to max it in January of 2026. And so, but in order to do that, that means that it would already be maxed for 2024 and 2025. If it's not, you should first do 2024. If that's not fully maxed out, you can contribute to the previous year in the Roth IRA up until tax day of the next year. So tax day 2025, middle of April, you can still contribute to 2024, and you should maximize the past first, just in case you end up having more money in the future, and that way you can catch up instead of like you're saving in advance. So it just depends if 2024 and 2025 are already maxed out on that. Yeah, that's fine to do. And you have 401k already too, and so if that's being maxed out, great. That should be maxed out every year if you can max it out. So that 600 would be better going into that instead of being saved for January. Because more in the market earlier makes more money always than saving a lump sum to put it in later. Too much money investment. Oh, I did that. Read that already. Next year. I do want to have it in the market ASAP, right? And so you would put it in there ASAP. So you would even put it in a taxable brokerage account if your 401k was already maxed as well. Rather than putting it away. So you're thinking about it wrong. And that would be the same thing for making payments on something. You don't save up a lump sum and then put it down. You pay it as you have it. Like, I mean, it doesn't have to be every day or even every week or even every paycheck, but like every month you would do that rather than saving for 6 months and then paying off a debt. You don't do that. That's a nair. I do want to have it in the market. So I do it in one big chunk at the beginning of the year. Again, if you're not maxed out on all of these for the current year, then you should be doing that instead of saving for the next year ahead of time. So it just depends. Based on budget, remaining funds go to food. Okay, well, you don't have to spend that much on food just because it's left over. I don't go on vacations or trips, doing a lot of driving somewhere. Or buy really anything fun like video games or subscriptions. Everything I use for entertainment is free, like YouTube or League of Legends. That's a video game. My problem, though, is that it seems like, for me, although Dave's plan works to be debt-free, it does. I feel like living this way is still a struggle as if I am poor still. That's your fault. The only way I can keep this up is if I continue to live like I'm poor. Well, you don't have to invest extra. You don't have to do that. Let's see what else the person's problem is. And this isn't including saving to buy a house. Right, you would do that. And so you are living like you're poor so that you can save up to buy a house faster. Yeah, you would do that. And you wouldn't invest extra. You would, and you don't even have to invest at all if you want to save up a larger down payment faster. When I was at baby step number 2, I worked 2 full-time jobs, making about $4K until I couldn't do it anymore. Okay, you don't have to do that now that you're out of debt, and hopefully have full emergency fund as well. And so at that point, you would be able to start saving for down payment. Step 3B. Now I work just one full-time job because I hoped that with no debt, I could be able to afford to live. Okay, well, I don't know what your definition of it is, but I mean, you can be dumb and do all kinds of money spending. You don't make enough money to be doing that. How much did it say? Not that much. What is it? Yeah, 35 to 40K. I mean, even like in low cost of living areas like the Midwest, that's not a lot. So by the time you do 15% of investing and some to the house, it's all gone. It's all gone, dog. So your income is the problem. So make more money, work more like you were before. Otherwise, stop whining about it. Based on the budget, I can afford to continue the plan, but that's it. And if I reduce my investing, okay, well, first of all, then get your little pre-maxed Roth IRA thing out of your head then, and you use that $600 to put towards down payment if you want to buy a house. And if I reduce my investing, I lose on major benefits like maxing a Roth IRA tax-free or my 401k contribution match. Right, you are limited. Again, this is just like the other post. You're limited on what you can do with your income. You're limited by the amount of your income. So just because you want to do all of these things doesn't mean that you can. You have to set priorities. Welcome to being an adult. Welcome to life. This is how you are able to, live. So you can certainly, on step 4, you are allowed to put whatever fun stuff you want to in the budget. You can. Absolutely. That makes it longer, though, before you get done with the baby steps. And that's less you can invest extra. That's less that you can save for down payment on a house. If you do, the more stuff you like do of that kind of thing. Certainly do some. I wouldn't recommend that anybody not ever do anything fun to, live like you're talking about. So I would, if I was talking to this person, having a session with this person, I would ask, what does that mean to you? To find exactly what live means, because that's so vague. That's so vague, and just I mean, we're basically we're in pity party territory here. How about you make more money, but instead of whining that you can't do everything you want to do because you only make $40,000 a year? How about you make more money then? Quit whining. Where are we at? And if I reduce my investing, I lose on major. Right, you can't do everything all at the same time. So you can't save up a larger down payment faster and also invest the full amount. So you need to set priorities. Would you rather get a house not as quickly and have more in retirement? That's fine. You get to make that decision. You do not get to say, yes, I want all of that. That's not on the table. Until you make more money, that's not on the table. It seems like, although I will be able to retire at 65, hey, guess what? Some people can't do that even. So again, quit whining. I got another 30 years of eating ramen and doing nothing fun for years. Your money's going somewhere then. I don't know. I'd like to see where all the money's going then. You mentioned food. You said the rest of it's going to food. And I would think that would be a lot, but maybe not. Maybe the place he's renting or she is very expensive. I don't know. I would want to look at that budget before I could comment on it. Got another eating ramen and doing nothing fun for years. No, you can do whatever you want to do. You can go out to eat. That's fine. Go ahead. You can go on vacation. You can go to Cabo like Dave. That's fine. Put it in the budget. Start a sinking fund for it. You can do it. Now, don't whine to me and say then that, well, oh, no. I want to be able to go to Cabo and I want to be able to eat out and also have that same amount of money for investing or for my down payment on a house. And that's not how money works. Once you spend it, that's what it's for. You can't just spend it again on something else. So if I do decide to, it cuts into the budget in a massive scale. Yeah, because you don't make a lot of money. I mean, you were under the impression that you made a lot of money, were you? Oh, you got numbers there, so that'll be good. So I'm lost on how to move forward towards the baby steps. You do the baby steps in order and you set priorities. So hopefully you have full emergency fund. And then that would put you, if you want to start saving for a house down payment, you can, that's baby step 3B. That's where you would do that. And you can take 2 years off of investing completely while you save up a larger down payment faster, or you can do the 15%, or you can do 10%. It's the balance between 3B and 4 is completely up to you, and definitely take advantage of that, because that's one of the only times in the Ramsey advice where the ratio is completely up to you. Because otherwise, it's a pretty standard plan for everybody. All right, so income is 21 to 2400. Is that take home? Okay, and hey, guess what? That's not a lot. Even in the Midwest, that's not a lot. And if you're realistic at all and have any grasp on economics at all, then you already know that. Rent 1100, yeah, that's probably about standard, unless you go with something really cheap. That's fine. So yeah. And so that, guess what? Guess what? This is why Mr. Ramsey says that your housing should be 25% of your take-home pay. Because guess what? How much it is? Instead, it's over 50% of your take-home pay if you're making 2100. So that's too much house. So see if you can go down in value for a house, so you can rent more cheaply. See if you can do that. Gas 140. Again, stop. Why are these people driving all over the place? I don't know that. The Roth IRA 600 a month. And again, if you use the priorities, is the investing priority or is the down payment priority? You have to pick one in order to do either other one faster. In order to get more investment growth, you have to put more into the retirement. If you want to get a house faster, then you would stop investing for 2 years and save up a larger down payment faster. Also, yeah, you can work more too. Or you can just whine like you were doing. 200 for groceries a month. I mean, that's not horrible. You can see if you can get it down any though, but that's not horrible. But 2040, so right at the, yeah. So with the investing, right at that amount. Probably 401k already comes out of it, so not included in this income amount. So yeah. So that's how it goes. And the problem also is that you are basing your life here on the maximum investment allowed per year in the Roth. You don't have to put that much in there. Again, it should be 15% of gross with any match first. Should be first stop for that 15%. The second stop for that is any Roth account. And then would go back into the 401k for anything else remaining after the Roth IRA is maxed. Okay, I could, in theory, reduce my rate. So figured it out. Cool. My Roth IRA contributions, but that equals to about 7K a year, regardless if I set right. In large chunk or paid in smaller, but more often pieces. Right. But putting it in faster in smaller pieces ends up with a bigger number overall. Because you get that growth every single time instead of saving it up for doing here and then here. My 401k is only about 2K a year annually, so I need both, right? Okay. There's no problem with that. So are you even doing 15%? 2K and 7K, that's 9K. 21 and 15. Oh, let's go. No, let's see. That's going to be like 3,000. Does it say somewhere what it is? Oh, 35 to 40. So, okay, so 35 In 10, so that 10% of that is 3.5 thousand. See, that's not that much. 3.5 thousand. And then half of that. Or half of 3.5, that's 1.75. So 4.95. So just like about right about at 5%. Yeah, that's only 5%. So you're not investing enough. And I can see why, because of your house being over 50% of your income. So I can see that. So you just need to make more money if you want to do the things that you want to do. Because you don't make enough money. It's the simple fact of the matter. Rents are expensive in Ohio. Exactly where I am. So that's why these numbers are familiar to me. 7K. If okay, so again, this person has this problem as well. In theory, I reduce my Roth IRA contributions, but that equals to about 7K a year regardless if I save for it. And of course, the 401K is only about 2K a year. So this is your problem as well, because the investing is only a percentage of your income. And if your income is low, then any percentages of your income is going to be low as well. And that's why it doesn't seem like that's much of a jump to you. Like when you think about it in the terms of a year, yeah, 9K a year is not that much. You should be investing 15%. So as far as you using it for something else, that's the same too. It seems like it's not a lot, but that's because you don't make enough money for all the stuff that you want to do. See, I'm not trying to do all this stuff. I'm investing. Yeah, don't have any debt, so forth, and so not trying to buy a house, at least not at the current moment. And so, but I also I work more than 40 hours a week. So let's see, I moved from California, open for cheaper costs of living, but it's similar, assuming you don't want to live in the hood. Move into hood. Quit being too good for things. I mean, you don't want to live anywhere that's not safe. Sure, I get that part. But quit whining. Make more money or shut up. And do things like you're doing them. So you don't want to live in the hood. You don't want to do all this stuff, including not wanting to work extra. And so there's no answer for you. Again, I can keep doing this. I can. It would be like, I keep doing this, comma, I can, to like reinforce it, but no need to do that. But my concern is, where's the freedom or wealth in this? Is it just for when I'm 60 plus to enjoy life? Based on your income, yes, because you were paying more than 50% into housing. So that's the problem. Take a look at. There are two levers anyone can pull at any time: decrease expenses or increase income. Exactly. So yeah, that's it basically. That's what you have to do. You don't make enough money to do the kind of stuff that you want to do, apparently. So you have to lower expectations, lower expenses, and the best case scenario, do both: lower expenses and make more money. Alrighty. Once again, Coach Steve Money, Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And you're watching this on youtube.com/CoachSteveMoney. And for my financial content, just scroll down past the Oak Island playlist. New episode tonight. The Ramsey Show, Aftershow show. The Answering Your Financial Questions playlist as well. and the music playlist with 11 Ramsey adjacent songs in there. As I said, Ramsey's Solution Certified Financial Coach. And if you, yes, you would like to schedule a financial coaching consultation / assessment with me, you can do that at calendly.com/coachstevemoney. That link is down in the ticker below and also in the video description. You can email me about anything financial or anything on my YouTube channel at coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Donations go to paypal.me/coachstevemoney or Walmart gift card to coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Upcoming streams, the Ramsey Show Aftershow show will be Monday through Friday at 5:25 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the time that it leaves. The Ramsey Show leaves YouTube and goes to the exclusively to the Ramsey Network app for their last hour of the live radio show, which ends up being about 42 minutes of video. Alrighty. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, that's the thumbs up, and comment. And thanks so much if you have done those things. And as always, make smart financial decisions every day. What up, Robert G? Go Commanders. Very excited about that. Raise hail.